Welcome, everybody, to our monthly webinar. My name is Jim Toland, and I am a Senior Product Manager with the Azure Database for MySQL team. We're live today on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitch. And for those who might have missed any of our previous episodes, you can check out the recordings on our YouTube channel. It's YouTube at Azure Database MySQL. Today's episode is all about Azure Database and AI. And we're going to dive into two deep dive discussions. First, we're going to hear from Shreya Aithal about building RAG applications with Azure OpenAI and MySQL and Azure Search. And then we're going to also hear from Aditi Gupta, who's going to discuss with us Microsoft Azure Copilot and how you can use it with Azure Database for MySQL. And then last, we're going to pull in Sudheesh Narayanaswamy, who's going to go over the latest feature releases and upcoming roadmap. We're going to specifically focus on the things that we announced at Build, which should provide some exciting information from y'all. If you have any questions or feedback during this webinar, or if you just want to drop us a hi, please go ahead and drop it in the chat window, and we'll try to address any questions you have during the course of the meeting or during the course of this webinar. We'll also have Sudheesh is going to be monitoring the chat window during the course of this call as well. Now let's get started with the first section. Large language models are trained on vast volumes of data and use billions of parameters to generate original output for tasks such as answering questions, translating languages, and completing sentences. Retrieval augmented generation, or RAG, is the process of optimizing the output of an LLM by referencing an authoritative information source outside the data used to train the model. Let's invite Shreya Aithal, the product manager at Microsoft, to share with us details about the RAG applications using Azure OpenAI with MySQL and AI Search. Shreya, please welcome to the webinar, and thank you for joining us. Can you share a little bit about yourself?
Sure, Jim. I'm Shreya Aithal, and for those of you who have been watching this webinar, my introduction is not new. I'm Shreya Aithal. I'm a product manager at the Azure Database for MySQL team. And today I'm going to talk about a little bit, going to give you a sample AI architecture and talk about how you can really build intelligent applications with using the Azure ecosystem as well as Azure Database for MySQL.
Thank you, Shreya. I'll let you over to you.
Perfect. Thanks, Tim. Great. So before we jump into building RAG applications, for those of you who listened to Jim's introduction, you know what RAG means. For those of you who didn't, it's retrieval augmented generation. Before we jump into RAG applications, right, we'll first start with the very basics. What is vector search? If you know the answer to this question, I'll expect you to put the answers in the comment section. Meanwhile, I'll start from the very basic as to what a vector is, right? A vector is basically a way to represent data as a point in an n-dimensional space. Now, you and I can probably comprehend only 3-dimensional space or maybe 4, not more than that, right? It's really complex. But in an n-dimensional space, a way to represent a data as a point by basically encoding that data as a list of floating point numbers. Now, well, if you're not familiar with vectors and vector search, then this could be a little confusing for you. So let's actually take a look at a demo. Not a demo really. It's a website that is available for free for all of you to use. It's Pamela Fox GitHub.io vectors comparison, which will kind of tell you, show you what a vector really is, right? Now, just go to any of these websites and you can see that there are a couple of embedding models right here, like OpenAI model. Now you place any target word, and this is just trained on like 1,000 words, so it's not perfectly accurate. But if you search for baby, you see that a vector is created with 1,536 dimensions, and you've got a bunch of answers below. The closest word that baby is similar to is child or children, and you can see that basically what happens here is the word baby is actually matched with each of these vectors, and the nearest vector is child. So this is the cosine similarity that is shown here. So you can see that the closest word that has been predicted is child or children and so on. So it's basically when you you take a word and make a vector out of it with a little bit of semantic context, especially if you're using large language models like OpenAI. It gives a little bit of semantic context and gives you some of the closest, the ones that are the words that are closest to you. In fact, you can actually use this to delve down and see, what are the least similar ones. It's basically just a cosine similarity that you can see, right? So, find is nowhere related to baby because babies rarely find stuff. You can search for brother, say for example. So the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear brother is probably sister, a relation, a boy, something like that. And that's exactly what you will find here as well. You can see sister, uncle, buddy, husband, dude, all of these words coming as top closest words to the word brother. And this is through, first generating the vector, then doing a similarity search, and that's how you get the comparison out here, right? Now, with this context, I think this context is sufficient for understanding what a vector search is. Let's move on to what RAG applications really are. Now, again, like I said, RAG is retrieval augmented generation. Now, before we go there, right, I don't want to confuse you with a lot of words on the screen. Say you all probably use ChatGPT, right? So what is ChatGPT or a large language model like that? An LLM like that is trained on public data. So you've got tons of public data out there, and you've got a model that is trained on that data, and you get answers to the prompts or the questions or the queries that you post based on the information that it gets from that large public data, right? Now, what if you want to use your own data to be able to generate such meaningful responses? One way to do it would be build your own models on top of your own data and go ahead and build an application with it. The other most popular model these days is a RAG model, where basically you use the same ChatGPT or LLM like ChatGPT. So you augment the capabilities of an LLM like ChatGPT by adding an information retrieval system like an Azure AI Search, which will actually provide the data for you from your data source, right? Like from your database. And then once the LLM gets back that information, it kind of generates a response back to the user. So it's augmenting, it's retrieval, and it's generating a response back, right? Now, in the context, before I say move on, again, I want to make it very clear, in this RAG model, you don't train on your data. Your data is used as an augmenting factor to provide the information and augmenting the capabilities of the LLM itself. Okay, so now using this the beautiful ecosystem of Azure, especially Azure AI Search and Azure OpenAI, this is how you could build a RAG application. This is a simple model for it. Now, if you look at this, right, the first thing that you can see is you've got an application, or you can take this as a user, right? Say a user sends a prompt. The prompt goes to both Azure AI Search, prompt or a query goes to both Azure AI Search as well as to Azure OpenAI. Now, Azure AI Search goes and connects to your data sources. Here's where your Azure Database for MySQL would fall into picture, or it could be any other data source, right? It goes, finds the data, finds the relevant information for you, and then it provides that information to Azure OpenAI, which in turn generates the response and sends it back to the app UX or the user. So again, it's clear, right, what a RAG model will look like. It's basically augmenting the capability of OpenAI using your data sources or information retrieval engine like Azure AI Search, and then the Azure OpenAI generating the response. Now, let's take a look at a demo before we go in depth into actually how you can build it, right? So what we've built here is a RAG application that works in tangent with Magento. Magento is an e-commerce website, e-commerce platform which you can use to build, well, e-commerce sites. So, we have created a RAG application to go along with a Magento e-commerce website. So think of it as, I decided to set up a small mom and pop store instead, because my income's too low, so, and my expenditure is too high. So I thought I'll set up some mom and pop store, and I have a small Magento application which has got a few apparel and some basic apparel out there. Now I've built a Magento RAG application alongside it, a recommender, just so that it's easier for my customers to find what they're looking for. So this is how a Magento UX typically looks like, and we've populated it with basic data. So you can, on the other side, see the Magento Recommender Copilot, with which you can actually chat. It's just a simple chatbot, right? This is the AI application that I was talking about. Now, in the Magento application itself, it has a native search, right? A Magento, you can see the search entire store, or you can just scroll through and find products like this. You've got t-shirts, you've got a description of it, and then you've got product reviews. So my recommender Copilot is actually based on the reviews and the product description, right? Now, let's go and search in the search button. Suggest me something, some product to carry my stuff while going for workout. I've just started working out, really got to stay fit. So this is a typical query that you would say out, especially if you are speaking it out loud, right? You can see that the search is not as good as it should be. It's all over the place. It's showing me shorts, it's showing me shirts, it's showing me pants, nothing related to carrying anything for a workout. Now, on the other side, if I paste the same thing, you can see that you've got really chic bags being recommended for me. You've got a yoga bag recommended, and you can see the summaries, right? So basically, my AI bot is being trained on that review summary as well. So you can see the spaciousness, the carrying items, and all of that. And you can just click on that link over here to go and click on the cart. Right? I've made it as simple as that. Now the yoga bag, like I was saying, so the yoga bag has good reviews, so it's come up in the top, and you've got similar other bags being recommended for me as well. Now, if you are an e-commerce website, the power of cross-selling. This is where your cross-selling and upselling could work if you've got the right product description. We'll let you dream about that yourself. Now, say I'll search another search as well, something like find me something to wear on a date. Now, this is a very random search. And if you see the recommendations here, right, you can see it says, did you mean something Gobi to warm on dance? Gobi desert. I mean, what is it really recommending? So the search is not really as good as it should be, because it's a keyword, it's a native keyword search match. Now, on the other hand, what I'll do on the AI application of mine is I'll search with a little typo, something like, let me just copy this. So what I'll search is find me something good to wear on a data, right? And you'll see that my AI application is smart enough to actually correct me. So it says, the data, there's no, the context, it's out of context. So did you mean something else? And I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah, sorry, I meant date, right? Now, and the responses will be perfect. You've got exactly, casual wear, something low-key, comfort, casual date. So it's basically learning on top of your reviews and giving you the answer. Awesome, right? Now, it looks complex, but trust me, not even a day spent on building this. How did we do it? It's as simple as this. You've got your Magento application, you've got your MySQL flexible server. So Magento, for those of you who are not familiar with, usually Magento applications are very tightly integrated with MySQL and use MySQL at the backend. Now you've got the data stored on Azure Database for MySQL. What we'll do on the other side, you have the chatbot, right? The chatbot that you saw in the previous episode, previous demo. Now, you've got the heroes, you've got Azure AI Search, you've got Azure OpenAI services, which obviously have to be here. So the first thing that we'll have to do is use the Azure AI Search's MySQL indexer. In this case, it's pulling data from Azure Database for MySQL and sending it to Azure AI Search. You can also use the push model, where basically you can actually push the data to the indexer based on, say, if there is an update, based on triggers. Basically, there's an update on your review data and stuff like that, right? So if a new review comes in, then say that's really bad, then the whole search needs to reflect that, right? So you could use push models, or in this case, we actually just used a pull model to indexer to actually poll every hour and pull the data every hour. So it pulls this product and review data, only the relevant information. It's quite secure, so you don't need to expose your entire server to it. Then sent to processing and persisting to Azure AI Search. What that means is Azure AI Search internally makes a call to Azure OpenAI services. And this is internal, right? We don't expect you to build this integration to actually use the embedding models present in Azure OpenAI Search. And then it goes ahead and persists that vector data and add the vector embeddings and persists that index data in the Azure AI Search index. Now, on the other hand, when when the user sends a query, first we send it to a chat completion service like language services, and Azure OpenAI also then sends that search or the query to Azure AI Search. Azure OpenAI sends the query to Azure AI Search. Now, Azure AI Search, what it does at this point is does a similarity, a vector search, which a vector search, like I said earlier, has some semantic context in it. So first it does vector search, taking the top 100 or 50 results that come out of it. We've also added another layer of semantic re-ranker, just to make sure that you get the most relevant relevant search. And a semantic re-ranker also gives back some prompts and some keywords that the OpenAI service can then use to generate the final response to send to the chatbot. So it's as simple as this, right? And you can really set this up in a matter of minutes. And this is all for today. I'm going to pause right here for you all to view the architecture. Meanwhile, if you have more questions, or if you have, you want to explore more about what RAG models really are, where they can be used, what are the pros and cons, and I'm sure many of you are already thinking about the cons here, because you're not really training it on your data. Is it the best model for me to use? But there are a lot of pros as well that you saw just now, right? So go ahead and check out this link. It's a learn.microsoft.com link. We will definitely try to publish more blogs and RAG architecture demos onto our blog. But yeah, that's all I had for today. Back to you, Zim.
Hey, thank you so much, Shreya, for sharing your expertise and also for taking time so late in your day. Really appreciate that. Okay, next we're going to move over to a presentation from Aditi Gupta. She's been with us before, back again. Thanks for joining us. Microsoft Copilot in Azure, it's in preview right now, is an AI-powered tool to help you gain insights, discover cloud benefits, and orchestrate across both cloud and edge. Copilot leverages large language models, the Azure control plane, and insights about your Azure environment to help you work more efficiently. Let me go ahead and invite Aditi to the screen, or to the show. And Aditi, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself before we get started here?
Hey everyone, my name is Aditi Gupta and I'm a senior product manager with the Azure Database for MySQL team. And I currently work with migrations, and I'm looking to build intelligence into the MySQL product on Azure.
Fantastic. Thank you, Aditi. And I will turn things over to you. Let's actually, we have lost our slides. Let me see if I can step in here real quickly. Oh, she's joining back. Here we go. We're getting there. All right. I'll now turn it over to you, Aditi.
Thanks, Jim. Today, I'm excited to talk about the Microsoft Azure Copilot experience. Azure builds on the core benefits of MySQL. With Azure Database for MySQL Flexible Server poised as a flagship offering, we continue to make numerous investments to make it more performant, more compliant, more secure, and more intelligent. Next, to ensure that all of our Azure Database for MySQL developers have all the information, tutorials on how to configure, how to enable new features for their flexible server workload, we've ensured that we have a host of documentation available online. But this has really overwhelmed the user with information and cognition overload. There are numerous tutorials, numerous searches that sort of lead to a volume of data that really needs to be crushed into, I would say, sizable pieces for consumption. This is where I am pleased to announce the preview of Microsoft Copilot in Azure, using which you can unlock the merits of Azure Database for MySQL with this AI companion. The Copilot experience is going to allow you to discover new Azure Database for MySQL functionality. It'll enable you to get tailored insights and troubleshoot with ease. You'll also be able to get expert tips and recommendations for running your Azure Database for MySQL workload on Azure. Next, let's quickly take a look at the demo as to how you can start interacting with the Microsoft Azure Copilot. To start interacting, it's as simple as logging into your Azure portal, clicking on the Copilot option on the top Microsoft Azure bar. This opens up the conversational Copilot experience where you can start typing in your queries for your Azure Database for MySQL workload. The first query that we want to shoot is which feature can enhance the throughput for business critical service tier in Azure Database for MySQL Flexible Server. As you can see, the Copilot is now searching through the indexed MySQL Learn documents and fetches you a summarized answer. The feature that it suggests here is the accelerated logs feature. And it gives you a small summary from the Microsoft Learn content as well as to what the feature is and what it can help you achieve. In addition with the documentation link as well. What it additionally does is give you 3 follow-up prompts using which you can converse with the Copilot. Let's click on how can I enable the accelerated logs feature next. This now returns a simple summarized 5-step routine that you need to go do on the Azure portal to enable the accelerated logs. So now you have all the information to enable the logs as well from the portal within the portal experience itself. Next, let's take a look as to how can we troubleshoot with the Copilot. The next query that I'm going to shoot is how can I troubleshoot replication lag for my MySQL Flexible Server. As you can see, it has suggested some steps with respect to either monitoring the replication lag metric and running the slave status command. It has also called out several factors which could affect replication lag and how can you sort of troubleshoot using the slow query log or tuning the identified queries, as well as adding primary keys to tables. So as you can see, it has returned a comprehensive list of troubleshooting guidance that you can follow to get to the bottom of the issue for your replication lag. Last but not the least, we want to see how can we get expert tips and recommendations. The next query that we're going to shoot is how can I optimize my Azure Database for MySQL Flexible Server's performance. As you can see, the Copilot has scoured through the Microsoft Learn content to return certain best practices, right from enabling slow query logs to talking about connection pooling and adding retry logic, as well as enabling read replication to mitigate failovers. So this is just a subset of all the possible queries that can be queried with the Copilot experience. I strongly recommend you to go ahead and try the Copilot experience and enable tailored and custom insights for your workload. Thanks, Jim. back to you. And for more details, do refer to the MySQL Copilot blog. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, Aditi. Really appreciate it. Yes, and do check out the blog for more information there. I really appreciate you taking the time to be with us here. Thank you again.
Thank you.
All right, now we're going to turn on to our last section, which we're going to bring on Sudheesh, and we're going to talk about a lot of the features that we released at the Build conference, but then also we'll take a look at our forward-looking roadmap. Let me go ahead and bring Sudheesh to the stage. And Sudheesh, I'll let you take over here, buddy.
Sure. Thanks, Jim. And good morning, good evening, good afternoon, based on the time zone you guys are in. I'm being a part of these webinars at the back end most of the time, but I'm really thrilled today to be the spotlight in front of you, explaining about the features which we announced in the Build conference, which was held last month, right? So about me, I'm Sudheesh Narayanaswamy, Senior Manager with PM Manager with Azure Database for MySQL. I'm one of the product lead with this product and been working on this product for a while now. Yeah, let's move on, Jim. So in this build, we actually had have a new innovations or our investment cornered on these three pillars, basically calling it as intelligent, limitless, and trusted. The intelligent part of it, which has been already explained by Aditi and Shreya now on the RAG application as well as Microsoft Copilot. So I'm not getting into the details of it. Rather, I will concentrate on the other two pillars where we have concentrated or invested on. They are the limitless and the trusted. Now, coming to limitless, the key feature which we GA'd was the associated logs, which gave which scaled the performance of the product in the business critical tier. And also we announced the GA for the 32 terabyte support in the under the limitless pillar. Coming to the trusted side, we have also public previewed on-demand backup and export feature, which will help in exporting the data out of it. And also we have integrated with the Azure Defender for Cloud, right? And so these innovations are where we had concentrated on. Yeah, let's move on and go to the associated logs. So this is the main announcement of the build for us for Azure Database for MySQL, where the business critical tier, now you can enable associated logs, which was previously in preview. Now it's GA, and you can also expand from up to 32 terabytes. Previously it was 16 terabytes, which was the maximum storage allowed. Now for business critical tiers, you can go up to 32 terabytes. Let's move on. Now, what associated logs bring, when I say generally available, which was already previewed a few months back, is it gives you the ability to enable associated logs on the high availability servers, primary servers and read replicas, right? And also ability to do major version upgrades on a server in which associated logs are enabled. Next. Now, enabling this feature is, though we talk about a lot of it, there is no much difficult in configuring this feature. You just need to come to the compute storage blade, and you can easily see that it is a checkbox to enable associated logs, and the storage size, as you select, you can just select the 32 terabytes. You can just mention the gigabytes there, and that way you will be able to use the 32 terabytes. And if you're using auto grow feature, then automatically it can grow up to 32 terabytes at this point of time. Let's move on. So this is one of the Sysbench performance test output, right? With and without associated logs, which we have done the testing for the benchmark testing, which we have performed. So if you look at it with and without associated logs, if you look at the TPS, it's around 9K, whereas without associated logs, it was around 4.5K, and it is 9.5K. So almost more than 2 times you could see the TPS. And if you look at the QPS, it is around 90K, and it is 190K, which is again almost 2 times the TPS without changing anything, without changing the configuration, coming at no cost for you, just enabling one checkbox. So that is what makes this feature really very important, right? Now, in terms of latency also, if you just compare between these two things, we have much lesser latency in the suspense test which we have done, where it was an average of 28 when we without accelerated logs, and around 13 millisecond average when we had used the accelerated logs. Yeah, let's move on. Now, we also did a study in collaboration with the principal technologies in the month of October with this feature, accelerated logs. And we are very happy to share with you that with our competitors, the comparison has been done, and we could stand out in the performance side. So the if you look at these graphs here, it very clearly shows that with respect to Aurora MySQL, we are 15% faster. With RDS offering of AWS, we are 50% faster, and with GCP, much faster, 126% faster in terms of transactions per second for the same skewed hardware, the same skewed service in these the cloud vendors and also when they are comparing with Azure. Similarly, if you look at the latency part of it, there also we were able to excel. You can see with respect to the Aurora, we were 13% lower, 33% lower with RDS, and 55% lower as compared to the GCP Cloud SQL, right? So this really shows how good the performance we are able to provide with this particular feature. And we really encourage everyone who is using the business critical tier to go ahead and enable this feature and use the benefits of this feature to improve your performance. Let's move on. Not only TPS and the latency, if you even look at the price performance comparison, there also this particular Azure Database MySQL with AL is excelling, where we are almost like 6% cheaper as compared to Aurora, or 54% cheaper in price performance calculation if you do it, 54% cheaper for Amazon RDS, and 51% cheaper when you compare with the cloud SQL. Now, coming to the second feature, we spoke about AL. Now you know what AL is all about, or we call it as AL or accelerated logs, how you would like to call it as. But this is another feature which is currently in public preview, which we announced in build. This shows our commitment towards not being a vendor lock-in, where you will be able to export your backup into a storage and then use that backup outside. When I say with my flexible server, or outside with any other cloud providers, or on the on-prem also MySQL, where you can use the MySQL command to just go ahead and import this backup, and then use it wherever you want, right? So there is no stickiness, there is no vendor lock-in. This was requested by our customers for having a better data recovery, redundancy, and availability options, and audit and compliance purposes, because there are certain security guidelines which govern that they need to have a copy of the database with them, right? So though we provide the backup as a part of our service offering, but still there has been requirements from the customers to meet their compliance requirements or security guideline requirements for certain certifications to have this particular feature for them. Let's move on. So how do you do that? It's easy. If you go to the backup and restore pane on the portal, you just need to go ahead and click on the option to export now. Now, can we move on? Next slide. It will give you it will request you to specify the backup name and the container name where you would like to export. And then if you click on export, can you move to the next? You would see that the export happens, and this is the container in which it got exported. Can you click again next? Yeah, you will see the files which is export. Now these files you can download it and then use it for your for the import in any of the services. The third thing which I spoke about is the integration of MySQL Defender for Cloud, which is the security feature provided by Azure. Now we have integrated with Azure Defender for Cloud. Now, what that means is that you don't have to be worried about the security of your databases. If you have integrated, if you have enabled the integration with, if you enable Azure Defender for Cloud integration with Azure Database for MySQL, it gives you the advanced threat protection where it detects the anomalies, access, query patterns, any suspicious activities coming, and it will alert you, right? It also alert in such a way that it sets up severity levels for these kinds of alerts, right? Following the mature attack tactic, right? And then accordingly, this so mature attack tactic is nothing but a framework which decides like what is more severity and less severity. So based upon that, it sets the severity level, and then that will actually help you to understand how serious is the threat and act on it, right? It gives you the remediation steps as well, and it continuously monitors and keeps alerting you if any of the cyber threats or any vulnerabilities has been detected as a part of it. So this integration is now GA, and customers can now go ahead and use it. So these are the things which we brought in built, right? So these are the things which we have released, right? As we already explained, asserted logs, support for 32 GB, and on-demand backup and export. These are the things that are now coming to the future releases. We have also GA'd MySQL import for external migration. Now, this is a command line utility which can help you to import the backup taken from Percona Extra backups. So which helps you for moving to Azure when you have external migrations, how easily you can move, especially this is preferred for databases which are of huge size, greater than 1 terabytes, right? Move on. Now, these are few of the other features which will soon be there. One is a flexible maintenance option. This is currently in public preview. We expect it to GA in the next quarter. This particular feature helps you to reschedule up to 14 days, right? Even if a maintenance has been scheduled, and if you want to go ahead and move the schedule to another alternate date beyond the CMW, whatever you have already configured, it gives you that facility. Coming to the nearest zero downtime for HA servers, which is also currently in public preview, which can go to GA in the next quarter, is that feature actually helps takes the advantage of HA failover mechanism to patch the servers. When they are patching, they fail over to the other server, patch one server, and then fall back, making sure that there is very less downtime, near zero downtime for the customers. So the only downtime you would have would be the failover time, not beyond that particular, not beyond that, right? As compared to non-HA servers. The next feature is a virtual canary feature. This feature, again, one of the most asked feature, where if you tag a server as virtual canary, they will get the patches as soon as the patches are ready. That gives you time to test the new versions which is coming in, or with respect to your application, if there is any incompatibility, etc., and alert us back. Though we do the testing at our end, there could be something specific to your application which needs to be tested to handling such scenarios where the virtual canary can happen, so that before it moves to the production servers, there will be you will be able to test and understand if there is any adjustment at the application level or at the versioning level we need to do. This we will be public previewing that in the Q3 of this year. Error logs feature, it is currently in public preview. It will be GA'd in Q3 again. This feature will help you to download the logs, so it will help you to understand the error logs, which is the MySQL error logs, whatever you generally see in an on-prem world. You will be able to download from the server logs and have a look into it to understand what really is happening, what kind of an errors are coming. So it's more helpful in troubleshooting. Long-term rotation of backup, again coming in GA in Q3, currently in public review. This feature generally helps you to have backups beyond 35 days. By up to 35 days, you can configure it in the service itself. Now, this long-term retention of backup it is integrated with the Azure Backup Service, which will actually help you to take the backups and save up to 10 years. Right? Again, this has been a requirement for the compliance purposes for certain security certifications. So this feature would help you with that. And last but not the least, the Microsoft Discovery and Assessment in Azure Migrate. We are integrating with Azure Migrate as well, which will help you to do the MySQL Discovery, Assessment, and SKU recommendation. which will help you to discover your resources in your on-prem, identify how many MySQLs are there. It will do the assessment, say how much it is ready to be moved to cloud, what you need to be taken care, and also it will recommend you which is your best queue based upon whatever is being configured in the on-prem, right? So these features are coming for you. It is currently in private preview, and once you will be moving to public preview soon, where you will be able to use it, this feature, and move your workloads from on-prem to the Azure database for MySQL.
Hey, thank you, Sudheesh. Really appreciate that. Folks, if any of you would like to try features in private preview, please write to us, and we'll be sure to get back to you and get you involved in that.
Hey, before you drop off, Sudheesh, there's one question on the comment section for you. I think we just saw that. Sorry about that, Bradley. But Bradley was curious to know if what is the plan for supporting MySQL Server 8.4 or even the upcoming 9.x innovation release. Do you have any comments on that?
The innovation release is something which you are currently not considering, but for the version 8.4, the newer versions of 8.1, which are not innovation releases, but the normal releases which is coming up, we do have the plans to do it. We currently on the testing phase. Once the testing is over, we would be doing so. Consider it as a 6 months down the line, we should be able to get there. And that's a commitment, right? Any new versions coming in within 6 months, we should be able to deliver it to the customers.
Awesome.
Great.
Thank you so much, Sudheesh. That's all.
Yeah, appreciate it. All right. Let's see here. Let's turn to the closeout for the day. Thank you, Sudheesh, by the way. And so I'm going to leave you with 4 things. I'm going to remind you again to join the contributor initiative. There's a link there that you can go and check out more about it. It's super easy to get to be a gold badge holder. Simply join our or follow our social channels and re-amplify them for us. It's very easy. As you work your way up there, for the Emerald, it's about sharing existing content that we've got out there, some of our technical content, and then for the Platinum, we work together with us to create titles that we will generally post on our blog site. Next, I'm going to leave you with the fact that we have resources that we'd like you to go out and take a look at that link up there. We've got the MySQL homepage, which will take you to the product information. We've got our documentation. And then again, any questions that you've got, it's simply a matter of writing to us at Ask Azure Database for MySQL at service.microsoft.com. We also have a monthly newsletter that we're going to put out. And those generally come out about a few days after the webinar. So look for it early next week. Stay tuned to us by subscribing to our channels. These are the channels you'd subscribe to get your gold badge. And just follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube for more information there. And I think that is, if you do want to appear with us, you can write to us here. So you can either, I mentioned creating collateral with us, but you can also join us on a live webinar if we have a topic or you have a topic that you'd like to share with us. Just coordinate with us and we will be happy to host you on our show in coming months. And I think that is about everything for today. Really appreciate everybody being here. We hope you'll check in next month. It's always on the second Wednesday of the month at 7:30 a.m. Pacific time. And provide any feedback or suggestions to us. Let us know about topics you'd like to hear. And we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks again for everybody attending, and thanks to all of our guest speakers. Have a great rest of your day.